Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about Ehrengard, the Art of Seduction. Ehrengard, the Art of Seduction is a Danish romantic period dramedy that tells the story of Kazat, a painter and self-appointed expert on love in the fairy tale kingdom of Babenhausen. He's hired by the Grand Duchess to help her secure an heir for the kingdom by teaching her son, the prince, the art of love and seduction, during which he encounters a woman named Ehrengard. The prince falls in love with and marries a woman, but the two conceive a child out of wedlock, and are forced to seclude themselves in a castle to wait until enough time passes to present the child to the world. During this time, Kazat falls in love with Ehrengard, but he comes to learn that he may not be an expert on love after all. I'm not sure why this movie seems to have garnered mediocre reviews, because I had a lot of fun watching this. In spite of a few issues with pacing and world building, the atmosphere is pleasant, the production design is gorgeous, and it's filled to the brim with entertaining character dynamics, especially with how they toy with the concepts of love and seduction. Kazat is a charming protagonist that becomes increasingly more intriguing the longer the story goes on. He has this mysterious allure that draws the viewer's attention, which becomes more interesting as he has lots of great dialogue that communicates his philosophy for life quite well. Though he does have a reputation for being a ladies' man, he never comes off as a typical bachelor who's only after one thing. His passion for art reflects the passion he has for life itself, especially with how he expresses said passion through painting others. He almost has more of a lust for art and life than for others, which makes him more dimensional as a character. This being said, it's also great to see him challenge his own perceptions on seduction as he finds a woman that strikes his fancy. He's always discovering something new about himself, either through art or through people, and I enjoyed seeing him evolve over the course of the story. The other lead character, Ehrengard, is one that takes a long time to get a proper footing in the story, but once she does, she's awesome. Like Kazat, she stands out from the crowd, this time not acting like a typical prim and proper noblewoman through riding horses, a less formal way of speaking, and generally being independent from others, and it's fun to see her in action. Sadly, it takes a long time for her to start doing anything meaningful in the movie. This sort of makes sense as the story is more about Kazat and the shenanigans he finds himself in, but it is kind of disappointing that the movie hints so much at her being integral to the story, what with her name being in the title and all, and yet being basically absent for the entire first act. Because of her absence, the relationship takes a while to get interesting between the two leads, though once it does, it is enjoyable. I like the impact Ehrengard has on Kazat almost immediately in terms of attraction, but it never plays out like a love at first sight type of story. Instead, there's a lot of mental jousting between them, with how Kazat schemes a way to seduce Ehrengard, while she rebukes him and yet still finds herself becoming more attracted to him over time. There's always something going on between them that made me wonder if they would truly fall in love together or not, and this dynamic kept me invested to see how the story would proceed. What follows is one of the more clever cinematic stories that I've seen in recent years. It is filled with twists involving royal feuds, romantic entanglements, and even a mystery aspect involving the Prince Bother's child-to-be. There's always something going on in the story to hold one's attention without distracting from the main romance once it does kick off. The dynamic between Kazat and the Grand Duchess was one of my favorite things about the movie. The way they always conspire with each other while also making wagers against each other for certain outcomes was a great way of adding dramatic intrigue to the story while reinforcing Kazat's goal to seduce Ehrengard. The main problem this movie's story has is with regards to pacing, as it's quite sporadic. Sometimes it's slow, as I hinted at earlier with Ehrengard's arc, while other times it's fast, as was the case with Prince Bother, and this kind of muddled my perception of Kazat's methods of seduction and the setting in general. It does make sense to go a bit slower as far as Ehrengard is concerned, as it builds suspense toward the potential romance, but everything else feels a bit too fast. This makes it harder to pay attention to specific details in the story and setting when trying to make sense of its terminology, like who the different kinds of families are, what Babenhausen is, and so on. The movie manages to get the gist of its atmosphere across though, thanks to the way it effectively balances between drama and comedy, whether it involves an intimate moment between Kazat and Ehrengard, or the ridiculous charade the prince upholds in front of the rival Marbod family. The movie always knows how to portray the right tone for the right moment. There's also something relaxing about it with the amount of painting that's involved, which didn't bore me as much as I thought it would. The amount of scenes with old-fashioned dialogue can be repetitive, but most of the time it's engaging and thought-provoking with how everyone talks about romance and royalty. The paintings weren't the only thing that looked good in this movie either. There is so much beautiful scenery of lush forests and mountain vistas, and beautiful cinematography of little towns that all do a fantastic job of conveying a romantic atmosphere. Some scenes look so good, I swear they were like a painting come to life. A similar effort goes into the other aesthetics of the movie, from the classical themed music with how it conveys lust and passion through its string instrumentation, to the colorful costume design of the characters. I have no idea if any of it is historically accurate to the period this movie is set in, but it's a feast for the eyes, and it drew me into the story even more. It's hard not to see the themes of love, passion, and seduction prevalent within this movie. Everyone always worries about family, the royal accession, and finding the right partner, which are all connected to the concept of love and further reinforced by Kazat's more passionate persona. The back and forth interactions between the characters reflect this passion, and it all amounts to a finely crafted, if strangely paced period piece, showing how powerful love can be, and as events proceed, it's not always to one's benefit. Overall, Ehrengard, The Art of Seduction is a fun and unconventional love story that succeeds in tying its themes together with its plot and setting. If you like period pieces that balance comedy and drama and want to see one with a romantic atmosphere, you should check this one out. The pacing goes back and forth a bit and the setting doesn't always make sense, but the basic premise comes out on top, and it's surprisingly captivating with how it balances its mellow comedy with powerful drama and how resonating its romantic atmosphere is. One could even say it's seductive, and for me at least, it captured my attention and then some. What did you think about this movie? Did you enjoy the way it portrayed its romantic setting, or were you bored by its pacing? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Ehrengard, The Art of Seduction. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the American romantic comedy, Love at First Sight. Bye bye!